So you beautiful people, welcome back to the channel. Now, before we get into the video, let me know down in the comment sections your thoughts and feelings on Season 1 for Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 and Warzone 2.0, because I can't be the only person in the world having all the issues I've got listed down here. This isn't going to be a rant video. I'm going to try my best not to rant anyway, but we're going to go through why I believe Season 1 is already a categorical failure when it comes to the release of it. So, Modern Warfare 2 and Warzone is what we're going to talk about, but we're predominantly going to talk about Modern Warfare 2 simply because I haven't played enough games to give you an in-depth review of Warzone 2.0, and I will do that at some point. But there was a few things that were very alarming that I saw from the rip as soon as I jumped out of that C-130 to go and find myself somewhere to land in that map. So we finally, after 2 weeks or 3 weeks of this game being out, we finally got combat record in Modern Warfare 2, which is something that should be on the release of Call of Duty, especially when you guys are bragging that this game has had a 3-year development cycle, a full development cycle, as you keep saying. Calling cards are now in the game, another staple of Call of Duty that you tend to pay your £70 for and expect to get on the day of release when you purchase this game. So, Season 1, bit of excitement, jumped on to get on with my cousin and a couple of my friends, decided to play Warzone 2.0 first. And what happens? Our first hurdle, we can't join each other. This game is now the forerunner, is now the heir to the throne. Call of Duty Modern Warfare multiplayer is second in line now. And for a game that they did so much quality of life changes in its life cycle, Warzone, to get it to a point, they said they was changing to a different engine so they could make certain implementations in the game a lot easier. Well, that seems like a massive fail, because if you can't get the very fundamental of your game, which is we're going in as a quad or we're going in as a trio, and we can't join each other after 3 years of development, then what is this development team doing? What is Infinity Ward actually doing behind the scenes? Because it seems to me still that these people are just innately incompetent at their job. Frame rates was another experience that we had, and I'll be generous if I said that I was getting 15 frames per second at certain points. It looked like old technology from CCTV cameras in freeze frame. It was absolutely awful. Then I came to find out that if you guys who are playing 6v6 or anything like that want to get your hands on the M13B, a lot of people call this gun the Honey Badger, to my frustration, because I've already done a video about this not being the Honey Badger. But we'll call it that for you guys' sake. The Honey Badger is only available in DMZ. So if you've paid £70 for the multiplayer aspect of this game, you are forced to download Warzone and DMZ, and then you will be able to jump in. You've got to go and kill the chemist to get that gun. Now, this is just kind of indicative of what's going on in Call of Duty at the moment, where you've got to play with a certain weapon, get it to a certain level, just so you can unlock an attachment that you want for another gun, because you've got no interest in using the gun that you have to use to get that attachment. If you haven't seen clearly enough ever that they're trying to manipulate how long people play this game for, you are seeing it in HD, 4K, 8K quality right now. They are taking the piss out of the community at the moment. They really are. Tier 1, which is now the equivalent of hardcore. I've had a couple games, and you guys will know, predominantly Black Ops 3, I think Ghost was another game I played hardcore for the most part. And this is an absolute abomination to those people who have dedicated themselves to the mode. It's essentially a middle finger to the whole entire hardcore community. I don't even know where to start. You can't even have certain streaks because you can't see when there's nothing. It's literally you running around with no heads-up display. No, you can't bring up your your streaks or anything. So you're essentially running around blind. It's bare bones hardcore, and it's a terrible decision to alienate certain people that play that mode. Another thing to add to my misery playing in Modern Warfare 2 is they have decided to turn up the footsteps even louder, to bring me back to those PTSD days of Modern Warfare 2019. And these maps are already terrible with no flow as it is, because they're literally, as I saw yesterday when I dropped into Warzone 2.0, they are literally ripped out of that map. So now we have to deal with people sitting in corners and just listening to you even more. The rushing playstyle that I know and love, that I started playing this game because of, and many of you, is dead. If you guys play that way and you can't change, this game is not for you anymore, because all you're going to do is frustrate yourself beyond frustration. To hear Exclusive Ace actually turn around and say that he may not play this game anymore and only play it for content is kind of heartbreaking to hear, because I would say Ace is one of those kind of passive guys that doesn't really get involved in the BS, and he tries his best to enjoy every Call of Duty, as do I, as much as he can. And to see him actually admit defeat should tell you everything you need to know about 6v6 in Call of Duty now. In Warzone 2.0, it happened to me yesterday. I thought I should have been down and I just immediately died and went to the Gulag. That's something we'll talk about in the moment. And apparently this is a bug in the game at the moment. It's the most dreadful release ever. And ultimately, what's going on is, I'm not going to put everything at Infinity Ward's feet here. I am going to give predominantly most of the blame to them, because they are the developers of the game, and if they're behind, then essentially that may be their fault. But you know what Activision's about. This time of year is the time of year where Call of Duty has always came out, specifically the multiplayer aspect of the game. It's always came out in November, and as we've seen over the last few years, it's come out earlier and earlier and earlier. And they've done this basically because they want Warzone to be at the forefront of everybody's mind this Christmas, when they're buying consoles for the kids and all those sorts of, and PCs for the kids, and their kids want to download a game and they might buy them a voucher to buy some blueprints and all that kind of nonsense. It's all part of this marketing paraphernalia. And it's just weird to me that these guys can't get this right. They can't seem to get a product out on its specific date of launch that is finished, or we could remotely say is viable. It's not viable when you've paid 70 quid for a game and you've only just got combat records and stuff, and you're supposedly supposed to wait until season 1 comes. That's not acceptable in any way, shape or form for anyone. Going back to the Gulag in Warzone 2.0, well, this new formation they've got for the game, where it's 2v2 or the jailer, doesn't make any sense to me at all, because twice yesterday I ended up in the Gulag against 2 people. I was dead straight away. What am I supposed to do? There's no way I'm getting back in that game. It's me essentially against 3 people. This game needs some real work, and my personal opinion, it needed to be delayed. There are so many things wrong in the game, and I can see where they've tried to go. They've tried to make it a more visceral battle royale-like game, which for me is perfect, because I really enjoy stuff like H1Z1, stuff like PUBG, Fortnite. I'll add that to the mix, because that was a true battle royale game in terms of looting and all those sorts of things. Warzone was a bit more of a Call of Duty style, drop your loadouts in and forget looting. They've tried to keep it a bit more traditional now, and we'll talk about this more in a separate video. But the execution that they've done, it's slow, it's clunky, and again, I just don't feel like these guys get people to play test their games, because, well, obviously it saves money, but it's a time wasting thing in their eyes. They want the game out straight away so they can start making that money. So, if this turned into a bit of a rant, I'm really sorry, guys, but ultimately, I believe Season 1 is trash. It's garbage at the moment. It's a fail. We shouldn't be getting a season coming in hot after the game's been out for several weeks and it's made the game effectively worse. That is a backward step in my eyes. Well, several backward steps. And we live in a day and an age now where this seems to be acceptable from many different companies, and we know that Battlefield 2042, they got their asses handed to them by the community, and it's time for the Call of Duty community to do the same. Down in the comment section, let me know your thoughts and feelings, guys, and your experiences. Guys, there are many buttons you could hit, but the like and subscribe button, I'll update you if you're fancy, and as always, guys, don't forget to stay on the right track. Peace.